Recording time. As you can see, this is not a normal video. We have something a little special today. This is the first episode of my new series, Serve, where every Saturday I will be sharing with you guys my favorite foods, recipes, and cooking methods. I like telling people that I know how to cook because I've been cooking since I was probably like 10 years old. My mom taught me how to cook eggs, and slowly I learned how to cook pasta and then meats and then different types of baked things. And I never know what to respond with when people ask me, so what can you cook? I basically just blank out and stare at them like I'm not human. So with this series, I will be showing you guys some of my favorite foods and how I prepare them. So for the first episode, we will be making steak. This is a Denver steak, but this method will work on any steak, ribeye, filet mignon, or New York strip, any steak about this thickness and size. I'm doing steak because honestly, it's basically the easiest thing for me to cook, and I've probably cooked around 300 steaks in my life. So yeah, let's go ahead and just get started. So to start off, I think it would make sense to go over some of the equipment and stuff I'll be using. So these are carbon steel pans. I have them in two sizes. This is my original one that I got a while ago. It comes kind of pre-seasoned, and yeah, it's just a very good pan for cooking basically anything. I don't really like non-stick pans, so when I found this, it's yeah, it actually helped a lot for cooking most things. I cook basically everything on this thing, and my mom kept trying to buy a bunch of non-stick pans, and when she would eventually burn them all and ruin the coating on them, I told her to just get a smaller one of mine. So now we have two of these carbon steel pans. The brand is called Merton and Stork. But yeah, I'm gonna be using the smaller one today, not only because it's just easier to cook with, but because the bigger one kind of has a little bit of warping and it doesn't sit flat like this one does. So yeah, we're using the smaller one. And for the steak, this was pre-seasoned with just salt on all sides and left open in the fridge overnight. So it kind of has that good deep red color, and some of the marbling kind of took on like a little bit of a pinkish tone. I had more steaks, so I could have just saved one steak and not salted them all and then salted them on camera. But just imagine me salting the steak and then sticking it in the fridge. That's all you have to do. Just a light coating of salt in the fridge open like this. That way all the oxygen can do its thing, and that will give you just a better flavor, and it's gonna dry out the outer skin of the steak. That way you get a better crust and not too much moisture. For oil, you know I'm on that Instagram reel wood cutting board Sigma diet, so I'm gonna be using this rendered pork fat. I kind of add my own bacon grease to it, like occasionally, but most of this at the bottom is the original pork fat. So yeah, this is what I choose to sear basically anything in. I don't use any other oil other than this and butter. Controlling the camera is a bit hard because, you know, my hands are gonna continue to get greasy, but I just turned on the big burner to high heat. Once the pan begins to smoke, that's when we'll add our oil and then the steak. We don't wanna add our oil too early just because that's gonna cause a lot of unneeded smoke before the pan is even hot enough. So now that our pan is smoking hot, we're gonna go ahead and add our pork fat. By the way, if you wanna cook this at home, please don't harass your parents with the smoke in the house. I'm home alone right now, so I can do this, but if you can and you're able to, cook this outside. But yeah, the pan is hot and it's full of oil. A little too hot, but it's all right. So we're gonna go ahead and lay our steak down away from us, and yeah, we're gonna press it down for a little bit just to make sure that we have a nice sear. It's 5:54 right now, and I was waiting to record this video because I wanted to get my microphone first, so I haven't had breakfast yet. It's 5:54 p.m. and I haven't eaten, so I'm very hungry. After about a minute, we're gonna go ahead and flip. Because of the dry aging or the overnight salting, we already have a pretty good sear. Normally, you know, it doesn't have to be like that on the first flip. We're gonna continue to flip this back and forth. The steak is a pretty good thickness, so we have enough time to get a good sear on all sides before we overcook the center. After 60 more seconds, we're gonna go ahead and flip again. Oh, and by the way, make sure you've turned your pan down, not from, you know, all the way on max heat. You definitely don't need it that hot anymore. After a few more flips, this is our result. So go ahead and turn off the heat and put on the cutting board. When I first started cooking steaks, I used to butter baste them to finish, but then I realized that I'm kind of wasting most of the butter and burning it. So if anything, I'll just, you know, if I ever want it, I'll just smear a light bit of like fresh butter. That way I'm not burning it or just wasting it in the pan. Now, steak temperature is a bit of a controversial subject. I'm at the point where I can go ahead and eat a steak that's damn near raw, but since I don't want to scare you guys off the video, I aimed for, I guess like a medium. Oh, Antoine, where those 4 eggs come from? That's not part of the recipe. It's 6 p.m. and I'm hungry. 2 more important things I can mention about the actual eating of the steak is after you get it off the pan, you definitely want to let it rest because the inside is gonna naturally be a little colder than the outside. So when you let it rest for like minimum 5 minutes, it redistributes all the heat and maybe anything that's on the inside that wasn't fully done, you know, takes the heat from the outside and cooks itself from the inside. And when you're slicing it, you normally would want to go against the grain. This steak, the grain's kind of all over the place. I can see it running this way, so we're gonna want to make cuts this direction. But honestly, it doesn't really matter. Like for this type of steak, the marbling was good enough, so it's gonna be tender regardless. Haters are gonna hate and say it's raw. It's not raw. It's pretty fucking raw. All right. Just cook yours to your desired doneness. I only cooked mine for about like 6-7 minutes. So yeah, like I said, I eat my steaks like red, so it don't really matter for me. But yeah, I'm not gonna eat on camera, but that's basically the video. Obviously in the future, I'm gonna be making, you know, better recipes, but this is just all I had at the time. And I'm very hungry, so I just need to get this out the way. But yeah. If you liked it, just let me know in the comments. I'm gonna be planning to make a lot more stuff like desserts and actual full meals. So right now, I just want to do something really simple and easy to follow. So yeah, that's it. Subscribe, and if not, I'll give you a reason to tomorrow.